I have a request from M3 Tro. Thank you for your patience. The fight that M3 Tro wanted me to cover is Canelo Alvarez versus Fernando Vargas. And let's just say this fight takes place at 154, junior middleweight division. Interesting fight. Excellent stylistic matchup. Makes for an entertaining fight. And these guys are in the same class as fighters like Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Trinidad, and just fighters like that. Your classic boxer punchers, Sugar Shane Mosley, and so on and so forth. So who wins this fight? How would this fight play out? Fernando Vargas has had several classic fights against Oscar De La Hoya, 2 fights against Sugar Shane Mosley, and 1 fight against Felix Tito Trinidad. And even though he lost those fights, he gave a good account of himself in those fights. The losses and the wins, those are just official things, but sometimes we have to grade the performances. And Fernando Vargas showed us throughout his career that he belongs in there with the greatest because he was one of the greatest. I'll give him his props on that one. Canelo Alvarez, despite the criticisms he gets, is a great fighter, in my opinion. Skillful, classic boxer puncher. And Canelo can brawl when he has to, and he has tremendous power. And so despite the criticisms, we have to give credit where credit is due at the end of the day. I'm not saying you have to be a fan of Canelo Alvarez. The tendency is to look back in time and appreciate certain fighters versus appreciating them while they're still fighting, while they're still active. So Canelo Alvarez versus Fernando Vargas. This would be one for the ages. It definitely would be one for the ages. Fernando Vargas is coming to fight. Canelo Alvarez is coming to fight. What I like about Fernando Vargas is Fernando Vargas is a fast starter. He jumps in there and he gets down to business. Oh, I forgot to mention Ike Corte is one of Vargas's opponents. Won that fight. That was a great fight. But anyway, fast starter, puts on a lot of pressure, great punch placement, has a lot of power. And so Fernando Vargas, when he steps in the ring and when the bell rings, Fernando Vargas goes in. And so Canelo would definitely have to be prepared for that. And if I was Canelo, I wouldn't get into a firefight with Vargas right off. I would kind of take the James Kirkland approach in this one. Let Fernando Vargas fire off his shots while you cover up, and then catch Vargas in those exchanges, counterpunch him. And if I was Vargas, I would get to Canelo's body early, and I would just be Vargas in this fight. Come forward and just lay it all on Canelo, test his resolve, and see if you can impose your will and discourage him in this fight. Not likely. And to be honest with you, Canelo thrives on these types of fights. The only types of fighters I've seen give Canelo trouble is slick boxers. And so I think this is a fight that may favor Canelo stylistically. I don't know. You can't count Vargas out because Vargas is as tough as nails, especially when he shows up in shape and shows up at his best. So who wins this fight? That's why you watch these videos, to find out who I have winning these fights. Not a very easy one to predict because I want to cover all my bases. I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. And I just want to make sure I give both guys their just due, that I point out the things that they do well, as well as those things that can be exploited from each guy. at the end of the day. Both guys are coming to fight, and both guys are coming to win. So the more I think about it, this fight comes down to durability. It comes down to durability. It comes down to strength, and it comes down to power. Vargas was great. I think Canelo is great. But I truly feel that Canelo is more durable. He's more skillful. He has more power, better punch selection, more speed, better counterpuncher. So as great as Vargas was, and Vargas has been in there with the best of his era. And I don't think Canelo's resume is too shabby either. So as great as Vargas was, as great as his resume was and level of opposition, you and I both know that Canelo is the overall better fighter. Love him or hate him. We're not going by feelings. We're going by facts. We're going by data. We're going by the eye test. And we're just going to try to be as objective as we can be. Yeah. I can't tell you how to feel, but I just feel that Canelo is the better overall fighter, and that Vargas may get overly aggressive in this fight. He may get anxious in this fight and get countered. I hate to say it, but I have to call it how I see it. I feel that this fight would go down in similar fashion to the James Kirkland fight. James Kirkland came out swinging. He came out applying the pressure. He came out bringing the heat. But that's where Canelo Alvarez has the advantages, and that plays right into his counterpunching. Canelo Alvarez loves to counterpunch. Canelo Alvarez loves to catch you in the exchanges. And Canelo Alvarez loves it when you put pressure on him because you give him a target. Canelo Alvarez by mid-round knockout. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you think.